right, so this webinar is going to be different. I'm going to explain that whole thing to you here in just a second. But one thing I want to ask is, I don't care if it's me or somebody else, just simply type a 1 if you've ever been on a non-corporate webinar, right? So not one that maybe, you know, if you're with Allstate or State Farm, Nationwide Farmers, not one of their corporate webinars, but just a non-corporate webinar. Type a 1 if you've ever been on any non-corporate webinars before. All right, so from the answers, it looks like most of you. All right, so that's where I want to start. All right, so this is good. That means you're going to relate to everything I'm about to say. So let's rethink what a webinar is. All right, we sign up for a webinar because we want to learn something new, one piece of information, something specific, right? But, you know, and I'm not bashing anybody that does webinars, because let's face it, what I'm about to tell you and show you is what I've done for years. All right. And it's worked. Okay. But I feel like anymore we need something different. Right. So normally, and I'm going to be making fun of myself a little bit here. Normally, when you're on a webinar, they basically do this formula. So it always is going to start out with a how-to, and then it's going to show you something something about what you should do and never tell you how to do it. And that's that first line. And then it's going to say without. It's in the webinar world, it's called the how-to without method, right? So basically they always say how to, and then they're going to show you what you need to do and never tell you how to do it. And then the without is, I'm going, under the without sentence, it's going to be something, they're going to try to identify some pain or discomfort you feel in your agency that they're hoping, and me as well when I do these, that's going to make you buy something almost out of desperation. All right. And I don't want that today. That is the if you've ever been on a webinar, it might not look exactly like this, but it's called the how-to without formula. And that's what people on sales webinars do. Excuse me for the cough. I got a cold today. So that's, and like I said, this is something I've done for years. I don't want to do that today. All right. But that's the basic formula. And so I want to stop that. All right, done. You guys are adults. You're smart. You're professionals. All right. You deserve to be treated better than that. Not that I'm never going to do a webinar like that again, because you know what? I'm sure I will. But today's different. All right. My goal today is I am actually going to show you stuff. All right. I'm not just going to say what you need to do. I'm going to show you how to do it. All right. It's that simple. Your goal today, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, I need to make money. And so, yeah, I'm going to try to sell you something, but I don't want you to be hooked along for 60 minutes here on what you need to do. And then the only way you can accomplish it is through my quote unquote stuff. All right. So your goal today is to determine if I'm right for you. And the only way you're going to determine that is by having me actually train you on stuff that is important, that actually matters. Now, if you stay to the end, usually you see this, right? They say, if you stay to the end, I'm going to give out this, or I'm going to give you an exclusive offer. No, if you stay to the end today, I'm going to show you my 3 power closing questions that I've adapted to the insurance business. All right, that's what I'm going to give you. Stay till the end. All right, yeah, it's my incentive. First of all, you're going to get some awesome training, but it's my incentive for you to stay and commit until the end. Now, I always do ask if you are willing to try to commit to the end of this, to just type commit in the chat bar. All right. And that's what you're going to get. I'm not trying to make some big old surprise. If you think you are the best closer in the world and you don't need any more help, then you know what? That might not incent you to stay to the end. Fair? All right. But that's what I'm going to give you. All right. I'm just telling you that right now. So type commit in the bar if you're willing to stay to the end and check out this unique way. Anybody that actually does webinars for a living right now, if they've even seen this first 5 minutes, they're having a heart attack, because this goes against like everything in the webinar religion. All right, but that's okay. I don't care. I like to do things different, and that's what we're trying to do today. All right, so that's what you get to stay to the end, and that's why it is different. And I'm going to show you that right now. First of all, here's what I'm going to sell you today. When's the last time you've ever seen that? This is what I want to sell you today. All right, if you're having issues with audio or video, just hit reconnect. I'll put that in here. Now, I'm going to put an offer bar in the right. Don't click it. All right. When's the last time somebody showed you what they want to sell you and then told you don't buy it? That's what I'm telling you right now. Don't buy anything yet. I'm just going to put it out there. And that's honestly what I'm going to pitch you today. It's that simple. All right. But you can't make a decision to buy something from me until you do three things. All right. Before you can buy any course or any training, there's three questions you need to ask yourself. First of all, does whatever the person's offering solve a problem that you need to solve or something you need to improve in your agency? That's the first thing. You can't answer that right now. We haven't gone through anything. You can't buy a thing from me yet. All right. Second, are you going to be willing to actually implement and try something new to fix or improve whatever issues you might have? All right. Now that you may be able to answer right now. Okay. But you need to answer all three of these. So that you may be able to answer right now. Number three, which I think is the most important, especially the way I operate, because I work one-on-one with people. Do you like the way the content is delivered? You're watching it right now, how content gets delivered from me. All right. And you'll see through our training today how I do it. The biggest thing is whenever you're trying a coaching program, a course, training, something to help you improve or implement, is do you trust the person giving you the content? All right. And I'm not saying you should trust me yet, right? You have no reason, unless you know me. All right. And those of you, I got some people on here that have worked with me one-on-one. Obviously, you trust me and you know me, you're on here again. But for those of you that don't, you can't tell if you trust me yet. All right. So I'm going to sell you the playbook. All right. It's going to be on there all day. All right. Little stats. People don't know about the playbook. There's some, I'm not going to read all this out loud, but this is why it's our number one course training that we have by far. Outsells everything else we have. And it's just simply because we throw a ton of value for a minuscule price compared to everybody else that does it. If you put that type of value we give out, compared to other programs, they're selling for like $5,000. We released it in 2016 and haven't redesigned it yet until this year. All right. So anyway, the 18 playbook's different because everything we're doing this year is completely new. Every course, training, document, the documents are a big part of our playbook. That's all new. Here's where it's different. And this is why I want to show you this. We're going to start it. Yeah, you're going to have lifetime access. There's going to be a ton of trainings, but we're going to run a 7-week course live schedule. Guess what? Surprise. You didn't buy anything yet. You're on week 1. All right. Just like that. That's why it's going to be a little bit more unique than it was before. Now, after we do it for a few weeks, I am going to start releasing the product in the mass launch. And you don't need to worry about that because you're on this today. It's going to be at a higher price point. That's just me being honest. It's going to be at the $997 we were at last year. And this year also, I'm also including a one-on-one coaching portion. But anyway, we're going to do like 15 new courses, 16 new sales, operations, and marketing templates. And then as we always do, just a bunch of additional content throughout the year. And you get instant and lifetime access to the prior playbook. So you're not missing out on anything. All right. And duplicated that. So that's all the new stuff. Here's just some of the new stuff we're doing. We're going to run over 2-step virtual selling, email marketing, building up a retention wall. We're going to have a whole new video marketing course. Something that's been really awesome for agents I work with one-on-one is our LinkedIn marketing pipeline. And then we're going to update our HR training in a box. There's a bunch more than this, but these are the main points that are going to be brand new in 18, plus a ton of other, like 20 other brand new items, documents, trainings. All right, but enough about that. We'll revisit it later. All right, just wanted to throw that out there. When's the last time you're on a webinar where they sales pitch you at the beginning? And now you don't have to worry about it. All right, so here's how, once again, most webinars work. Remember, you've seen this before. They say, here's 3 secrets of, and then they give you some vague thing that might relate to you or your business, right? And then what kills me, and I'm picking on myself, is they say they're secrets, but they plug the crap out of their webinars, hoping everybody gets on to tell them a secret. So secret 1 is usually something you know that's basic, that you know you already should be doing. You just might not be doing it. Secret 2 is something not as basic, still makes sense and gets you to think a little bit different, which is not a bad thing, but they still don't tell you how to do it. And usually they say secret 3, and then it's really nothing except it sets you up for a 30 to 40 minute straight closing sales pitch, right? So that's usually how it runs. And I'm picking on myself because I've done it too. And they really, and this is going to make you never look at webinars the same again. They spend like 20 to 30 minutes, quote unquote, teaching you, and then the last 40 minutes selling you on a 60 to 70 minute webinar. All right. So we started this at 2:05. It's 2:13. I told you I would spend 5 to 7 minutes selling you something, and I just did. That's it. It's all wrong. You deserve more than that. We're all adults, and this formula is kind of stopping. It's not working as well as it used to. Because guess what? People aren't dumb. That's the reality. And your time is too valuable. Now, here's what we're actually going to do today. All right. And you've seen this, hopefully, because that's why you're here. We are actually going to go through some stuff with staffing. And exactly what are we going to go through? We're going through comp plans that are not going to make you go broke. We're going to also show you, and I'm going to show you personally the way I did it in my agency and how I coach people to do it. Keep staff motivated, keep them to stay, right? Retaining staff and retaining customers is important, but retaining staff can be just as important. And I'm going to give you some cool ideas with that. And I'm going to show them to you. All right, I'm not going to say, here's a cool idea, go buy this to get it. No, I'm going to give it to you now. We're going to talk about cold calling. And I know we hate doing it. And us as the owner shouldn't be doing it. But what I'm going to go over are a few different things, such as what numbers you need to be looking at for measuring sticks for cold calling, and also show you a script that I've used forever that is pretty much foolproof and can be adapted. It's made for car insurance, but it can be used for home, life, and really anything else. So what I do want you to do, if you can screenshot on your computer and you can do that quick and you know how, get ready to do that at certain intervals. Or if you don't want to mess with that or you're not good at that, because some people aren't, that's fine. Get your phone ready just to take some screenshots, and the things that you need to take screenshots on, you'll know it, but I'll tell you it anyway. And so just be ready for that. And then email it to yourself. You can print it out, whatever. And then last, we're going to go over road mapping, life and financial sales. Because most of us have those numbers to hit, or at least the commission's good enough we want to hit them. So what I want to do is go over, it's much more intricate than what I'm showing you here, but I want to show you how we can get those sales, those appointments, pretty much as easy as PNC. So that's what we're actually going to do today. No secrets, right? Just pulled the veil back. No secrets here. All right. So if this method of webinar so far sounds fun to you, type a yes with an exclamation. That shows people, I want to know people are excited about this new way I'm going to try to perform a webinar today. And I do say perform because that's kind of what I'm doing here. So type a yes if the way we're doing this webinar today is different. Hey, if people hate this, right, then I'm going to go back to the old sales pitch webinar and waste people's time. I don't want to do that. I want to give value. So if this different way of, attending a webinar is exciting to you and you're looking forward to it, type a yes. All right, got a bunch of yeses coming through. Awesome, awesome. Super excited about it. All right. Well, let's not waste any more time. What do you say? All right. So we're going to talk first about staffing. So comp plans, motivation, employee retention. Now, before I get into this, obviously, if you already have staff, you have different comp plans for them. You're paying them a certain way. And I know you can't just automatically flip that. So I'm going to show you a few different things here. I'm going to show you what I prefer, but I'm also going to show you if you can't get out of that situation right away, how you can adapt your pay and comp to it. Okay. So first, you need to pay your staff how you get paid. Now, I don't mean 100% commission. All right. Now, what I want to always stay away from is that base plus a generous commission. Okay. I remember even when I was in sales, my first sales job, my gosh, 12, 13 years ago, I was hired at like $12 an hour plus, it was like 5 to 7% commission, something of that nature. And that was still too generous. Now I get that you might have staff right now that is on a base plan, and I know you might not be able to get out of that. All right. And that's fine. I'm not asking you to do that, but what I am asking you to do is just be open-minded about these certain things. Okay. So we're going to talk about now, the biggest thing I want to tell you is if I have a preference, if you say, Joe, what is your number one way you want to pay staff? I'm always going to tell you it's draw commission pay. Now, most of us think we know what a draw is, and probably most of us know, but basically you give them X amount of dollars per month, like $1,500, just usually not too much above minimum wage, depending on where you are, of course. But the draw commissions, you pay them each week, all right? And then they have to sell and earn commission against what you're paying them, right? So if you're pay, let's just use an easy example, $500 a week you're paying them, and they have $300 worth of commission sales, they're negative $200, which carries over to the next week. Now, the biggest thing about a draw commission is that you never take the money back. Right? That's a big misconception. That's illegal. You can't do that. But they can be working in a hole. Okay? But you still got to pay them every week. So that's, if you wanted my preference on how to pay staff, that's the way I'd want you to do it. Now, like I said, unfortunately, you might be in a spot where you can't change that right now. That's okay. But I'm going to show you how to kind of get out of that hole. Now, if you do have a great sales producer right now that's working on 100% commission, God bless you. Good for you, because that's almost impossible to find. But if you don't, and you're thinking, well, I wanted to be on 100% commission, you might be able to get somebody in. Here's the reality. They're going to, first of all, by the time you train them, they're not going to stick around very long. You might get them for 2-3 weeks at the absolute most. All right. But you're never going to get great talent with 100% commission. Like I said, if for some reason you found somebody in your office that is working and 100% commission doing great, hey, I'm wrong. Go ahead, keep them by all means. In fact, tell me how you do it. I've never seen it happen. All right. So let's go over some actual numbers. All right. So don't read too far ahead. I want to go over this one by one. So here's how I lay it out. Now, let's say you are in that situation where you already have a staff member. You can't change the way you pay them, right? They're already on a base plus commission. All right. That's fine. What you need to do, though, is have them at 25% of your commission. All right. So a lot of people on here get paid anywhere from 9 to 15 to 16%. Now, if you're on some enhanced scale within your first few years of company, it might be 40. All right. And that's good. I mean, that's fine. Still stick to that 25%. Most agents are at 10%. So that means if you do have a base pay with a sales producer, they're only getting 2.5% commission. All right. And that's it. Now, you will give them some minimal bonus opportunity. All right. Anywhere between $100 to $300 a month max. Now, with the actual dollar figures I'm giving out, everybody, keep in mind, depending on where you are, that might have to bump up, right? If you're where I am, upstate New York, these numbers will work. If you're if you're in 75 to 80% of the United States, these numbers work. But if you're in a bigger city, like let's say Long Island or certain places in California or Texas, and bigger cities, then you might have to bump this up a little bit, but not much. All right. Don't do it too much. Okay. So if you have a base situation that you can't get out of, remember, I prefer draw, but if you're in a base situation you can't get out of, this is kind of where you need to be. All right. Now, like I said, if you're stuck and let's say you're paying them 50% of what you're getting paid, plus they're getting a bonus and you need to get out of that trap, email me. All right. We can figure it out together. There's some unique ways you can do that. What you can do is you can say, all right, well, we're going to bring your commission down, bump your bonus up. And basically see if they want to stay or not. There's certain ways to get around that. It is situational. More than happy to help you out. Now, let's talk about the draw, which is my favorite. All right. Now, in a draw scale, all right, it's 50% of your commission. So if you're getting paid that 10%, they're getting 5%. But here's the caveat. They are also getting step-up bonuses as far as their monthly premium hits. So, for example, all right, and write this stuff down, guys. So you're going to start them at 50% of whatever your commission is. So if it's 10%, what you get, they get 5. But let's say your average premium per month is 20 or 15 to 20,000. What you're going to have is a step-up plan, right? So if you average in your agency 15 to 20 grand of premium a month, what you're going to have is they get 50% of the commission you get up to that amount, up to 20,000. From $20,001 to $30,000, they get 6 to 7%, depending whatever you choose. If they get over 30,000, which let's face it is 40,000, 30 to 40, which is almost double what you usually get, you're going to bump them up to about 7.5 to 8%. So they're going to get motivated, and it's going to be on their commissions for the entire month. All right. Remember, all this stuff, when you're talking step up commissions, just like the bonus, is monthly. All right. You want to base it off month. And then their bonus opportunity too, when you're in this draw scale, is actually going to be a little bit higher than we talked about with the base. Like I said, depending on your area, numbers, the solid numbers there, 5 to 750 can be adjusted up or down, but you kind of get the idea. If for some reason you already have, or you're just committed to finding somebody that's 100% commission, here's the reality. To have somebody good, motivated, that works and stays with you, you're going to have to pay them about 75 to 100% your new business commission. All right. So you're not going to see really any profiting until the first renewal that they're selling. All right. And then you'll also have to throw in like the draw commission, a pretty generous bonus scale. So it's a dangerous thing. Now, I'm not saying you can't do it, but it's not easy. All right. If you want somebody good at 100% commission, excuse me, this is pretty much how you have to do it. All right. Now, a couple things with this, though. The step-ups in the commission and the bonuses always should be based off written premium, not policy count. All right. For your State Farm people, your Allstate people, farmers nationwide also, I believe, is they get points associated with your items, right? So I know, for instance, when I, with Allstate, just because I know them really well, one auto was 15 points a home, was in New York State, it was like 10, and then the life was a little bit more. And that's how they were basing our growth. All right. And that's fine, but you can't base commissions and monthly bonuses off the same thing. Those always need to be off written premium. All right. Don't make that mistake, because the last thing you want to do is offer a $700 bonus to somebody that wrote $60 to $70, $50 renters or motorcycle policies, right? You're going to go broke real quick. So your step-ups in commission, if you're doing the draw scale, and your monthly bonuses on any of these is always going to be based off written premium. Okay. Does that make sense, guys? Now, the big thing too, at the end of this today, we're having a question and answer. So you can either type into the chat bar if you have a question about this. We'll get to it at the end. So type it in now and I'll go back through, or there should be a question button also. All right. And that will let you go ahead and submit it to me, because we're going to go over the question and answer at the end. But obviously I don't want you to forget things. So type it in if you have a question. We'll get to it at the Q&A. All right. So that's the compensation portion. All right. So yeah, like I said, my ideal preference is the draw, but I get that you might be in the situation now where that you can't change it. This is how you kind of can get out of it. And you can kind of tweak and adjust things. If you have to change somebody's comp schedule, then do it. You've got to make it kind of even for them. So if you're going to cut their commission down, you got to raise their bonus opportunity up. Or, what I've done before when I wanted to shift this is give them a couple more vacation days. People love that. It's cheaper for you by far. But if you say, you know what, I got to cut your commission from, let's say they're 5% total premium to 2.5%, but I'm going to give you an extra 5 days vacation this year. They'd be like, great, that's awesome. Right. And that's just, it works, and it's way cheaper for you that way. So there's ways around that. If you really need help, let me know. Email me. I'll give you my contact info in a little bit. All right. Now let's talk about the other parts of staffing we're going over today. That's motivation and retention. And it's kind of something you can do. It's one of those two birds with one stone thing. All right. So one thing I always was conscious of is a check-in, or some people call it an employee review. I always like to think of it as a post-employment interview. Now, a lot of people might do this once a year. I did it once a quarter, and it wasn't like a job performance review. All right. So I didn't sit down with somebody and say, all right, well, in this category, you were satisfactory. In this category, you met expectations. You were above it. No, I didn't do it that way. All right. This is the exact process I use. I only had, through all the years, I think I had 13 years between being an owner and an agency manager. And I did this ever since I was in charge of employing people. I had only 2 telemarketers quit on me out of the blue. And 1 customer service rep. I never had a salesperson out of the blue just up and quit. I've never had a manager just up and quit. All right. Nothing like that. All right. So this is the exact process I did. All right. So I checked in at least once a quarter. When I did that, I actually had the meeting outside the office. The last thing you want to do when you're checking in, and I say check in for a reason, when you're checking in with an employee, the last thing you want to do is have them intimidated or feel like they got to give you canned answers. Okay. Because that's going to happen if they come and meet in your office. All right. Even if you go into their office, you're still in that office setting where you are the boss. All right. But if you go to, I did mine in a coffee shop. It doesn't matter where you go, but have it outside the office somewhere. Yeah. I even did mine in a park one day. Honestly, one time I did my check-in. We were walking a trail by the river by our house or by our office. Right. So it's just different, right? You want to get them out of that element because number one, they're going to be more honest with you and they're not going to be intimidated. Also, you want to schedule it out at least 14 to 21 days in advance. That way they have time to think about stuff. All right. They have time to think about it and they want to know exactly what the situation is, what they want to ask you, because you want them to be honest. Giving an employee a chance to just give you canned answers that you want to hear absolutely doesn't help anybody at all. All right. It doesn't let you learn anything about them. It doesn't, and we'll get to this in a second, it doesn't make them feel any better or worse. It's non-productive. Now, here's your goals when you meet with them. All right. This is how you keep staff. All right. First of all, you want to make sure they're happy with their responsibilities. All right. The other goal is you want to make sure they're in the right job placement. I've had so many times where I had maybe a service or a salesperson that I had to swap because of these meetings. And it was a huge benefit to the agencies. And you want to check in with hard numbers like goals. Okay. So that's main goals that you want to accomplish during the meeting. Now, if you're wondering what questions to ask, how do I do it? I'm not going to go tell you got to buy something of mine to get it. I'm going to actually give it to you. So in a second, get ready for your screenshot, your phone, whatever you're going to use to take pictures today, so you can check this out. Now, after you do this, and it doesn't have to be out of the, but once you get back to the office, you just want to sign document acknowledging you guys had the check-in. And it's a CYA, and you guys know what that means. Cover your assets. All right, so basically there's two reasons you do this. Number one, because we are talking about goals. If they're not hitting the goals that you both set in your expectations, you have a signed document of them acknowledging that those goals were what they needed to accomplish, right? The other thing to it as well is if they ever come back, let's say you got to I don't know if we've all been there, but most of us probably have been there. We've had to let somebody go or fire somebody because they didn't do something or they went against the rules. This is going to help you with that too. All right. Now, this alone, and I'm going to show you the whole review process. It's literally one page, guys, that it's going to motivate them because it's going to make them part of their employment decision-making. And that's what motivates somebody. It's not, and I think we know this, but it's not how much always that you pay them, right? Or that you're friendly or nice to them, or you have a nice office, right? You give them water and snacks. It's not always that stuff. An employee is motivated and stays and is happy in their work environment when they feel they're part of the team and part of the decision-making process. Right, that's huge. I can't get that through to you enough. The other valuable thing that comes out of that, which at least for me, was I had my employees so comfortable with me at one point, they could come to me and tell me I was being dumb about something, right? Or if I had an idea, they're like, Joe, that's stupid. All right. I love the fact that my employees were that comfortable with me. Now, did I always listen? No, but a lot of the times I did. But this is all part of that. If you really want to create a team environment, you got to do this stuff, guys. All right. So here's the one-page sheet. I'm going to leave it up for a second. And hopefully you can see that. That's all I did, right? But if you look at these questions, as basic as they sound, so many conversations come out. This turns into an hour process, even though it's 4 main questions, right? So the first thing, and notice how I'm asking all these, all right? So I'm asking open-ended questions, just like sales. Sound familiar? I want them to give me an answer. I don't want a yes or no. I want them to think. I can try to make it bigger. I know it's kind of small. Give me a second. Let me see if I can make it any bigger for you here, guys. I can try to bring it up on my desktop. A lot of the times with this webinar software, it doesn't like that. Give it a shot real quick. All right. Everybody's saying they can't read and they don't like it. No problem. All right. So let's see. Hold on one second. Now, if the webinar kind of glitches for a second, it's just because it's bringing the document up. All right. You're going to see the screen blank. I'm going to go back. I'm going to share it on the other screen. And give me a second. I'm going to make it bigger. Oops. Is that better? Hopefully that's better. I'll scroll down, so we'll go through it. All right, so this is basically, there's 4 questions on here. It is just one page, okay? And this is obviously, this is on the 2017 playbook. It'll be on the 18 as well. But hopefully you can read this a little bit better. So notice how I ask these questions, right? So I ask them, how do you want your position to grow in the next 12 months? I don't ask, are you happy with your position right now? All right. And so the different subheaders on each question, I first talk about job responsibilities. All right. So and I literally ask them this, what tasks do you want to add? What ones would you like to subtract? And what ones would you like to get better at? Right. And it's making them give me an answer. All right. And so then I ask them about compensation. So notice I don't ask them, are you happy with how much you're making? No, I say, all right, by the end of the year, or if we're in the middle year in 12 months, how much do you want to be making? All right. Now, this tells you 2 things. It tells you a realistic answer of what they want their compensation to be, but it also tells you how motivated they are, right? So if they say, let's say you got somebody and maybe last year they brought in, I don't know, 35,000 total. And they say, I want to make 60 by the end of this. You now have somebody motivated. Whereas if somebody is making 35 and they're like, oh, I'm happy with what I got, or, just the same as I did last year, maybe they're happy, but they might not be motivated. All right. Now, the other question I asked, and this was a big one, is how long would you like to see yourself in the current position you're in? Or sometimes you can ask, do you feel that the position you're in right now is what you're best suited for? Now, the biggest key here is, especially with salespeople, is if they come back and say, well, I know I'm good at sales, but I think I'd be better at service. That's a red flag, right? They might be a great employee. That's fine. But it does not mean they're best for sales. All right. So if we scroll down to question 2, all right, what do you think will be the easiest monthly goal for you to achieve? Okay. And so your staff should have multiple goals, not just written sales goals, but referral goals, cross-sell goals, and if you get life and financial sales, they should have goals associated with that. So you want to ask them what goal is the easiest for them, right? And it's usually going to be an easier goal or something they hit. But then you want to ask the opposite of that. All right, what is the hardest monthly goal that you have to achieve? And then you're going to see what they're struggling with. All right, and that's when the education and the training on your part comes in. Let's figure out how you're going to achieve that hard goal. Okay. And then the last one, and this takes some time because you got to build some trust. But once you can get that trust built and you have somebody that's honest with you, you can find some really good stuff with this. So what would you like to see different from management or ownership as it relates to you? And if they got to be prodded a little bit, you can say, what's working well? What can be tweaked? Now, granted, the first time you do this, they might give you a canned answer. So be ready for that. But once you build some trust, okay, they are going to go ahead and be honest with you. All right. So now I understand that because of the size of it all, you probably couldn't get the whole thing. So what I'll do is I will put in everybody that's on the live one right now. I got your email. I will email you an attachment of this. All right. So you can check it out. Okay. So that's the biggest way I was able to retain and motivate staff. All right. So I'm going to close this. Give me just a second. We're going to switch back to where we were. Don't freak out because the screen's freaking out. It'll be fine. All right. Let me close this on this side. And perfect. All right. All right. Excuse me. So, I'll go ahead. I'll send that attachment out. All right. So far, that's the first thing we wanted to go over today. All right. Now, I wouldn't be a salesman. Yeah. Sales pitch alert. All right. This is what I'm selling you today. The lifetime access to the 2018 Underground Agency Playbook. If you like so far what you're seeing, it's probably a good fit for you. Once it goes to the public, it will be $997 for this webinar. We are doing the $597, and it's going to be giving you the live stuff. But I'm not going to go over all of it again. Just a pitch alert. I got to make money. Got to feed the kids, right? All right. Anyway, so let's go to our next actual thing we're talking about today. and that's cold calling. And really what I want to discuss with you is expected numbers and scripts. Now, once again, if the script comes out small, I'm going to read it to you still, even if you won't see it, but I'll send it to an attachment to everybody that was on here today. So I'm writing these notes down so I can get that to you guys as well. So the future preview, and I'll just send you, there's a couple other things we're going over, so I'll send those to you as well. But you'll see how cool the scripts are. But let's first talk about expected numbers. Now, of course, as I mentioned at the very beginning, you as the owner should not be cold calling, not like Jake from State Farm here. All right. So we don't want you to do it, but you need certain numbers for whoever is doing it, whether it's a current staff member cold calling or a telemarketer. All right. So here's realistic numbers. You should be happy if they're doing 25 to 30 dials or calls in an hour. All right. Everybody has this 50 number, right? Well, they should be able to dial out 50 times. Here's the reality. If you're going to stick somebody with 50 dials in an hour and you expect them to do that 5 to 8 hours a day, they're going to quit on you real quick. All right. Especially if you make that a hard goal, like a firm goal, they're going to quit on you pretty fast. Be happy with 25 to 30 calls or dials in an hour. Because off of that, you're going to get about a 10 to 15% connection rate. That's somebody picking up the phone saying, hello. And then off of the connections, you're going to get a 15 to 20% quote rate if you use the script I'm going to give you today. All right. So, the biggest thing is you can't go this whole number of 50s out here. I'm not saying it's not humanly possible, because obviously it is, but you're going to not have very happy employees. And if you hire a telemarketer off the bat, they're not going to stay very long if you're saying you got to hit 50. All right. So I wanted to throw that out there. Now, the biggest thing is how to pay them, how to pay cold calling staff members or telemarketing. Now, first of all, your base pay, this is based off telemarketing statistics and what I use, and same with cold calling, anywhere from 10 to 10.50 an hour. Obviously, it's not much above minimum wage, and in some areas it might be below, depending on where you are. All right. But the way they made some money was the leads per week. All right. So now this goes per week. So there was lead commission. All right. And there was bonus opportunity. So what I did was, if they got anywhere from 0, 1 to 19 leads a week, they got paid $2 a lead. All right. And this is a telemarketer's variation of commission. All right. If they got 20 to 29 leads in a week, they'd get paid $2.50 a lead. All right. And then if they got more than 30 leads in a week, they got paid $3 per lead. And that's for all the leads. Right. And so if you get the right script, which I'm going to give you today, and you have a telemarketer do, and you're okay with these numbers, you gotta set your expectations the right way. They're making an extra almost $400 a month if they're hitting 30 leads a week. All right, that's some good money for somebody doing that, and it can be part-time. But you're also going to give them bonus opportunity. All right, so mine was set up just like this. If in a month they had 100 to 199 leads, they got 150 bonus. Notice it wasn't super easy to hit the bonus, right? It wasn't easy. They had to hit some high numbers to get a bonus. If they got 200 to 299 per month, they got a $300 bonus. And if they were getting me over 300 leads in a month, I was giving them 500. And why that much? Well, think about it. If I'm getting 300 a lead or 300 leads in a month and I'm paying out 500, how cheap is that compared to an internet lead, right? That's less than $3 a lead. In fact, the math on that, so it's like $1.67 a lead. That's super cheap, super easy. All right. Now, I know on the next slide, you might not be able to see the script. So I will send this as an attachment to everybody. But here's a telemarketing script I used. And it's not just a script, it's the form 2. So what they would have is they'd have the script, and then they'd have all the information. They'd have all the information they needed to fill out below. So I'll read it real quick. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. whatever. This is Joe from the Davis Agency here in Binghamton, New York. How are you today? I'm just calling to give you a quote on car insurance to see if we can save you some money. What type of vehicles do you drive? That's it. And they shut up. Now, as silly as it sounds, this script was gold. All right. And the biggest thing you teach anybody cold calling, and you probably already know this, is once they ask that open closing question, is to shut up. Don't say a thing. And then there's a little thing underneath, overcoming the objection. If they say, no, I'm not interested right now, whatever. Well, it only takes a minute. What type of vehicle did you say you drive? All right. Now, remember, telemarketing is a numbers game. Quick and to the point. All right. We're not trying to caress somebody here. Okay. We're not trying to, flirt with them. We're getting right to the point. In this script, I actually learned like 10 years ago working for the other agent when I first started. And it worked without fail. It was an awesome script. So I know it might be small, but it does have places for vehicle info, driver info, current company, current physical damage, some place for notes, and a place to put email. We already got their phone number because we called them. So I'll send this out later today with the other attachments. Okay. But those are the numbers that you should be expecting. And that's the script you should use. So once again, like staffing with this, if you have questions, you can type them in the chat bar now, or you can wait for the question and answer. Okay. And we will get to that. All right. So far, is everybody liking the different way we're doing webinars, or should I go back to the old way where I'm trying to sell you on something for an hour and a half and not actually teaching you anything? Just want feedback. Okay, great. Just want to make sure. All right. Once again, quick sales pitch. The 2018 Playbook, $597 today. When it gets launched to the public, it will be $997. That's the offer button to your right. So anyway, that's, I'm here to make money just like you are. All right. Anyway, enough of that. So here's our final thing we're going to be talking about today. And that's in the life and financial area. So we're going to be talking about the road mapping for easier sales and lead generation. All right. Now, this stuff I've taken right off of our recent Life and Financial Accelerator class, but we're going to go a little bit deeper into it. And obviously, if you have questions, this will give you the opportunity to ask those. So if you're not writing your questions down, just type them in and I can go ahead and, get to them when we get to that part here in a minute. All right. So I talked a little bit earlier about an indoctrination sequence. Basically, an indoctrination sequence is you introducing yourself, your services, your expertise, and your products to somebody without actually ever meeting them. Okay. It's a very powerful tool if done correctly. So it really could be messages, information. Now, this could be, via email, direct mail, or even calls by somebody else that's not you. All right. Because you want to show them that you are their only choice for whatever you're trying to sell them compared to anybody else out there. All right. So the one thing you do is if somebody's asking somebody else, a client, if one of your staff is asking a client if they're interested in life insurance, all right, and they say, yeah, or, there's even an inkling, the first thing you do is you got to create a 4 to 6 question fact-finding sheet that helps you sell. All right. So this could be based off however you like to sell. Some people are really down to business and they like information off, say, a needs analysis, right? Or something of that nature. So create a 4 to 6 question fact-finding sheet. What's going to happen is you're going to send this sheet out before an appointment or even before a phone call and see if they send it back. You're going to give them a self-addressed stamped envelope, or if it's an email, you're going to actually direct them to reply and send this out to them. Also, what you want to get to them, whether it's email or in the mail, is marketing material. Now, if it's email, it's going to be a link to something specific. The way we always have an idea of how we want to sway somebody into a certain product, right? But it obviously is not always going to stick with that, but just kind of sway them a little bit. All right. So make sure you're stocked up on marketing material. If it's direct mail, you're going to mail it out to them. Or if they're in the office, you're going to hand it to them. All right. And you're going to hand them this 4 to 6 question fact-finding sheet for when they come back in or when you're going to call. You want them to do a little bit of homework because that's going to make everything easier for both parties after it's said and done. Now, if you have an appointment set, what you need to do is 24 to 48 hours before the appointment, call it confirm, not you personally, but a staff member. Now, obviously, if you're a one-man show, you don't have an option, right? It is what it is. If they didn't complete it, it's okay. If they didn't fill out the 4 questions, or heck, even if they didn't look at the marketing material, that's okay. Just say, okay, can you just bring everything back in with you and we can go over it together? And like I said, if you're a one-man operation, one-woman operation, do it yourself. That's fine. You don't have a choice. But if not, you need to have a staff member do these. If you're setting up, especially for life and financial, and honestly, you should do it for any sales appointment. If you're not calling to confirm, right, then you're missing out on opportunities because people aren't showing up. All right. So that's the first. I just want to show you a little bit about what an indoctrination sequence is. And in the 18 Playbook, I'm actually going to throw in this life and financial accelerator I'm thinking about throwing it in there, so I'm not sure yet. So anyway, now we're at the appointment stage. First and foremost, everybody on here, you know how to talk. You know how to sell. You know how to close. So I'm not going to, right now, if it looks like it, trust me, I'm not going to try to teach you how to sell. All right. I'm hoping you already know how to do that in your position. All right. So the biggest thing I always did during my intro, and your intro can be whatever it is, but I need to read the prospect. One big mistake I made for years before I got this right is I realized I needed to sell how somebody wanted to be sold, not how I wanted to sell them. All right. So the first thing I always did was try to figure out what type of person I'm dealing with. All right. Am I dealing with somebody who's down to business? Or am I dealing with that person that likes to chat? Now, me as a customer and a consumer, I can tell you I'm the down to business guy. That's just how I am. So what do you think the problem with that was? If I sold to people how I want to sell, then the chatty people are going to be turned off altogether because I'm just going to get right down to it. Okay, so the way I did this, I asked them one question at the beginning. One question. After I said, hey, how are you? Blah, 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 and, shot the breeze. I said, what are you hoping to get out of this meeting today? Now, if their response back to you is, well, I'm here to get a quote on life insurance, or I'm here to review my life insurance policy, or, I think I'm paying too much for this. They're a down to business person. All right. If their response back to you is something where they're telling you a long story with a point at the end, they're the chatty person. So you have to be, as a good salesman, and you all are on here, right? You're insurance agents. You got to be good, better than most. Then you need to just adjust your selling pattern. All right. If you're the chatty person right now, you need to learn that sometimes you got to get down to business. And if you're like me, the down to business guy, I got to learn to be chatty. I know it probably seems funny the amount I talk that I'm not chatty, but when it comes to this stuff, when it came to insurance and selling, or if I'm the consumer, I'm down to business. And I had to adjust that. It was a big adjustment. But after a while, I learned. Now, there's always the fact-finding stage, right? And some of you have a needs analysis you use. Maybe you have a really nice survey form, whatever. If they did the fact-finding, even if they didn't fill it out and turn it back to you, all right? Let's see. I got some questions coming in. We're going to answer those. Mark, I do see it. And so I am going to answer that in a minute. Yep. So anyway, the fact finding, even if they didn't fill it out, they should have thought about it. Okay. So a lot of that heavy lifting and wasted time is going to be done. All right. And if they did do it, right, and I had clients that did, now most of them will, I'm not going to lie to you, 70% are not going to fill stuff out. Most of them, if you ask, they'll bring it back in. And they looked at it. They just didn't fill it out. What I did was ask questions. I didn't give advice or give my expertise. Just ask questions. All right. So the next thing I always did was trial closes. All right. So hopefully you know what those are. If not, it's reassurance and confirmation statements. It's those basic things we hear, but we never use. So you said this was important to you, or, you told me about this, about your policy. Those type, we always know about trial closes. I bet you I'm not teaching you anything new here, but it's something that we forget. I eventually had to put a Post-it. I love Post-its. Put a Post-it on my monitor and said trial close 3 times, right? And see at the bottom, if I didn't try 3 trial closes, I never asked for the big close. I needed at least 3 of those, right? Now, sometimes I forgot till the end, so I had to go boom, boom, boom. That's fine. Still did it. The whole point to a trial close is literally it's a mental thing for the client. You just want them to say yes, nod their head, or agree with you. Because you want to, it's not a Jedi mind trick. That's just how the mind works. So I didn't actually close until I at least 3 times, all right, went for a trial close. Okay? Ooh, almost spoiled the secret. All right, so that's the life stuff. All right, and that's taken right from the Life and Financial Accelerator. Okay. Let's see. I've had like 4 people ask this question. Actually 5. If you are, and you might have missed this if you came on a little late, the 2018 Playbook is 100% new. All right. So a lot of people said they already have the Playbook. It's going to accompany that, but it's completely new trainings. It's all new. And the difference is it's going to be a 6-week onboarding. right? Because the reason I'll get into that in a minute because I don't want to be too sales pitchy. But anyway, that's the answer to that question. The 18 playbook is brand new. I'll go over more to a second. But anyway, I did say if you stay to the end, I'm going to give you my 3 power closing questions. All right. So the first thing I always ask them, first power close, is whether I called them or they called me. I literally ask them, what made you reach out? Or here's what made me reach out. I tell them that. All right. So that's the first thing you do. All right. The second is, I don't care if it's a quote for car insurance, life insurance, whatever, if they feel they're paying too much. Because remember, no matter what you're quoting, especially on personal lines, if they're trying to compare, you should know, are they calling because of a bad claim experience? Are they calling because their rates are too high? They don't like their agent. So what you need to ask them is, how long are they willing to go either with that situation? How long, Mr. Client, are you willing to go with paying those higher prices? How long are you willing to go, with those lesser coverages? How long are you willing to go with having an agent that you don't feel is there for you? How long? All right. So what made is number 1, how long, number 2. And lastly, closing without closing, I call it. Would you like my help in solving the issue? Right? How basic is that? But do we ever think about it that way? All right, we need to think about it that way. What made you or myself reach out? How long are you willing to go in whatever current situation they're in, whether it's high price, bad agent, bad claim experience, rate increase, no coverage, and if it's life or financial, how long are you willing to go without this? How long are you willing to take the risk? And would you like my help solving this issue? All right, those are the 3 power closing questions. And that can be used for appointments or sales. All right, I use this today. If I have someone email me and they want to know more about my stuff, I ask them this. What made you reach out? Well, I need more leads. Okay, well, how long are you willing to go without more leads? Well, I don't really want to do it anymore, right? I need leads now. All right, well, here's what I have. Here's my advice. Would you like my help solving it? Yes or no? Pretty simple, right? So they're for you, okay? So I want to ask you something. What made you come on the webinar today? All right, I know you don't have to type it in. What made you come out? Odds are you were looking for something different. I doubt it's because you were bored, or maybe you like some of the content we were going to go over. Yeah. Maybe you need to fix something. Most of it's we want to improve or fix something in our agency. Okay, well, whatever you want to fix or improve, how long are you willing to go without that being fixed? Right? How long are you willing to go without that? And you know what? After today's training, hopefully you can see how I operate. Not only do I offer, some, real stuff, but I, actually showed you some numbers. All right. And I showed you some good stuff here. All right. So would you like my help solving it? Okay. So those are 3 power closing questions. And I wasn't trying to close you on anything just now. I was just showing you this can be adapted to anything. All right. So that's the 3 power closing questions. All right. So let's see, there's a few questions here. All right. First of all, what I want you to see is at the beginning, I said, before you buy any course or training or product from anybody, not just me, you need to answer these. Now answer these questions. All right. So I showed you what we're going to be offering on the 2018 playbook, a whole bunch of stuff. Really what you need to figure out is the way I coach, the way I deliver my content, and the way I actually do things. Is that something that fits you? All right. Now I tried to pull back this whole thing of an actual webinar. Okay. So hopefully I did that today. And if I didn't, I apologize. I'll go back to my normal sales pitchy stuff some other time, but just trying something new today. Let's see. Okay. We got questions, and there was the power closing questions. Whoops. Sorry, guys. All right. So let's go back. So let me go back in here. All right. So people are saying, let's see, I'm a member. Yeah. So I answered that one. So if you're a member of the playbook already, this is brand new, right? You are not going to find a duplicate training in the 2018 version. All right. But the one thing I want to let you know is because of the special offer today, it's a 6-week onboarding. Now, here's the reason I'm doing this. Okay. The reason I'm doing this is because the last thing I want you to do is buy something, whether it's me or somebody else, and it's a recorded digital product and it just sits there and you do nothing. I don't want you to do that. So what's going to happen is you're going to sign up, and it's only on this webinar. You're going to sign up, and then we're actually going to do the courses live for you, right? So you paid and you're committed to come on to this. All right. So what's going to happen? It's like I said, $597. That's lifetime, no additional payments, unless you choose the optional coaching on top of it. When it actually goes out to the public in a few weeks, it's going to be $997, and that's where it's going to stick. All right. So that was that question. Now, another question. Somebody had a question on the staffing portion. All right. So let me go back up. Give me a second. All right. So the question on the staffing portion, let me go back to it. All right. So I mentioned this a little bit. The issue is, let's say I have staff. All right. So the situation this person's in is they have staff. They pay them a base salary, and they pay them about 6% commission. They do have bonuses off of, it sounds like, items, right? Okay. And so how do you get out of that? Like I said, you don't need to necessarily take it all away. But what I would actually do in this case is I would go ahead and say, either A, we're going to kind of shift some things, right? So whether you got to bring the commission down or you got to bring the bonus opportunity down, but then you give them something else, right? Like I said, you could use something like vacation days, which, believe it or not, is very, very powerful. You could do something like, if you got to bring the commission down, then you bring the bonus up a little bit. Okay. So there's different ways to do it, but there is ways. Get creative with this stuff, guys. Get creative with it. If you're stuck in a hole, get creative with it. All right. Let's see. Another question on staffing. Oh yeah, I could go over that again. So somebody asked, they asked about the step-up commission. All right. So if you look here, let's see, if you see my cursor, the draw commission. So we started with 50% is pretty much. So let's say, once again, just for easy numbers sake, you're paying them $2,000 a month. That's $500 a week, right? So $500 a week. And, their commission base working towards that is 50% of your commission. So if you're on the, Ashley, are you on the 10%? I don't mind. Is that okay to ask? Give me a second. I'm going to assume you're on the 10%. So right now, let's say you pay them 5%. All right. Okay. Okay. So your average. So in this situation, this agent's average premium per month is $15,000. All right. So what I would do in your case, if up to I'd say up to the 15,000, they get the 50%. Or you can even do, do up to $19.99. $19,999 written premium, they get 50%. Then at $20,001 to $30,000, you're going to then step them up to 6.5%, so 6.5% of annual premium, or 65% of what you get paid. Okay. And then the third thing I would do is at $30,001 in this particular case. And remember, guys, her average premium per month is $15,000 coming in. That's where we're basing these numbers. So if they're hitting over 30, they're doubling that. So I'm going to give that person 8.5, right? Now, don't think of it as, well, gosh, I'm not really making much money off a sale. Remember, all this money they're making is going back towards the money you already paid them. So they're kind of paying you back in a way. That's why it's more beneficial. So let's say that person hits 30,000 and you give them that 8.5. So they've made $2,550 a month. You're paying them $2,000. All you owe them is $550 a month. Now you might think, well, I'm in the hole if I do that. Well, yeah, you are, but think about when that amount renews. That's double your revenue. Yeah, you might have to sustain that for a renewal period, but you're going to make a ton more money in the long run. All right. So I hope that helped. Hope that helped with the step-up commissions. All right. Next. There's a few here. How soon do you terminate a person that's not reaching the draw? That is a great, great question. Some people, they apply the, hire slow, fire fast, right? It depends if they're licensed or not. If you're bringing somebody not licensed, you got to give them an extra 30 days because they got to get trained. They got to get licensed. But I always did a 60-day. Once somebody's licensed, you got 60 days to prove it to me. After 60 days, and they know that coming in. All right, 60 days. Now, if you got to get them licensed, then that process is so you'll give them 90 days at that point, unless they're getting no sales at all. But if you have somebody that, first of all, after 30 days, of already being licensed, so they're selling, right? After 30 days, they didn't hit their draw, they get a 30-day warning. It's hit your draw this month or you're done. Don't say it like that. You have a little bit more tact. But yeah, 60 days total is what I would do. Yep. So I hope that answered your question. That's, if they're not licensed, 90. If they're already licensed, then 60. Because you got to give them some time. Every job has learning curves. If you were with State Farm for 10 years, you go to Allstate, there's still going to be some learning curves. You got to account for that a little bit. All right. If they're not reaching it, that 60 days is pretty much after they're licensed, what I'm giving them. Yep. All right. Other question. Okay. So somebody has a question on the cold calling. Give me a second here. All right. So it's about the numbers. So basically the question is, they understood the numbers, the person that just talked to me. So they're okay with the numbers. If you have a telemarketer, how many hours per day? That's good. Actually, I'm going to take it one better. I'm not just going to say how many hours, but what hours. So if you're going to hire a part-time telemarketer and you want them to be effective and also not pay a ton of money, I would say no more than 4 to 5 hours in a day. And you want to do that afternoon to early evening. All right. Now, if you're in an office that's open till 8 o'clock at night, have them call till 8. My rule is never call anybody before 9 and never call anybody after 8. So an ideal situation would be you have somebody 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, 20 hours, and they would start calling around 4 p.m. to about 8 p.m. or 3 to 7, right? And that's going to be the best time, and that's going to get you the best connection rate and obviously, in turn, the best quote rate. So hopefully that answered that question. All right. Keep asking questions. If you have not asked them already, keep asking them. I'm going to go back to where we were down here. All right. So like I said, after this, you should be able to tell the 3 questions I asked at the beginning. Before you buy anything, like I said, today is the 2018 Playbook. All right. Now, first of all, if you don't have the 17 Playbook, it's okay. When you buy the 2018, if you're not a member of the 17, because it's discounted, I can give you access to that just on this launch. That's not going to be a permanent thing. That's just not going to happen. But does the stuff we talked about, give me a second here. These were just a handful, and I'll read the other ones. I'm going to go back to this part of the slide, though, because people are asking me what's different with the 18 Playbook. That was another question. I'm going to give you just like a snippet. Here's some of the stuff. Now, there's going to be more than this, but some of the new stuff we're going to be doing is 2-step and virtual selling masterclasses, email marketing, which is huge. If you look at the bottom related with that, LinkedIn, which is becoming way better than Facebook in our industry, at least. To be honest with you, Facebook hates our business. All right. And they're making it darn near, I don't want to say impossible, but really hard to reach real prospects. So I've been doing things with LinkedIn, and guess what? It's not costing agents anything. You don't have to pay for the ad. I'm not talking about paid ads on LinkedIn. I'm talking about LinkedIn marketing with automation that's free. It's pretty cool stuff. And other thing we're going to do is our video marketing mastery course. I'm going to teach you how to sell on video. The reality is, if you want to do anything online anymore, digital presence, email marketing, social media, you got to be comfortable with video. You just have to. That's just how it is. We're going to talk, a whole new course about retention of clients. We talked about retention of staff today. We're going to talk about retention of clients. We are going to have a ton more documents. In fact, I got the whole list right here, and I can read off to you. I'm still a pen and paper guy. But basically the 18 Playbook's going to be broken into 3 things. It's going to be product specific centers with auto, home, life, and financial. It's going to be process specific. So we're going to have a separate area for agency operations, the referral process, the HR in the box, like I say there, social media and digital stuff. And then we're going to have the document center. All right. So we're going to do those trainings, and then some other ones. We're going to talk about how you're going to develop an agency execution plan each month for different processes. Staff segmentation, that's a big one. We're going to go heavy into that. Setting up business-to-business referral partnerships. So not just referrals from customers, but partners that are going to refer back to you that actually work, right? Not bringing them in breakfast and donuts and stuff, but things that actually work. We're going to get a little bit heavier into the cold calling, but real more, specific stuff. Let's see. Let me flip the next page. Talking about hiring a sales superstar. We're going to run a class on that. Planning and executing an agency call-a-thon. We're going to talk about, how to run a weekly, what I call powwow meeting that absolutely can transform your agency. And that's just a few of them. I don't want to spend all day going through them all. And then as I count here, we have our old document center on the 17 playbook. That was like 21 documents, and their marketing, agency operations, fully customizable. On top of that, we have developed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So another about 20 additional marketing templates. And then if you bought the playbook 2 years ago in 16, compared to where it was at after we added to it, it at least tripled. And that's the plan for this playbook, right? We're going to probably within the next year or two triple it, and you're going to have access to it the whole time. The point is, we're doing it different this year, where what's going to happen is in a couple of weeks, and I'm going to show you this, we are going to do live sessions. So you actually use this stuff. So, you can pay money for it and not use it. That's not what's going to happen. You're going to pay money. We're going to make sure I'm going to be on you to use it and implement. Okay. So let me go back to where we were. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy. All right. So I got it set for the 14th, Valentine's Day. Wednesday is the first live one. Now, in between then, you're going to get access to some of the recorded stuff that I already have done. And you're going to get uploaded in the new documents. And if the 17 playbook is something you don't have, you'll go ahead and get that as well. Now, let's say you buy the 18 playbook. There's a couple of you in this spot. You already have the old playbook, the 16, 17 playbook, but you buy the 18, right? If that's the case and you already have the 17, let me know that if you buy, I'll give you something else. I'll give you another class for free. I have no problem doing that. All right. Now, on other webinars, I used to go about 10 to 15 slides on closing. And this is what I used to do. And you'll see, this is not just me. This is what people do, right? The what if closing. What if all it did was give you this? What would it be worth closing? The old habits die hard. I really like that one just because it's like, don't buy training and not use it. Actually do something with it. The hustle closing. Hustle's fun, but without knowledge and skills, it does nothing. Time versus money. We keep getting paychecks. Time's irreplaceable. We got to make sure we use it well. Money or excuses, can't have both. I won't keep going, but it's funny. And like I said, I'm picking on myself because this is how webinars close people. So if you really want to pretend like I'm closing you on a sale, pick one that applies. Okay. Now, let's see here. So the 14th is when that's going to start. So now, like I said, only on this webinar are you going to be able to do the $597. That price is going to go up once we launch to the public. And you'll know. All right. So we will know, exactly what, when the emails go out. Sorry, I got distracted by a question. So you will know once the actual email goes out that we're going to start doing the public launch. You're going to start seeing that Friday, Monday, something like that. Mark, yes, I will email you separately. No problem. So you'll know when that's going. Once it's out to the public, it will be $997. Okay. All right, cool. So let me make sure I didn't miss any other questions. Do you guys like this today or no? It was different. Oops. It was different, that's for sure. If you didn't like it, I apologize. I'll go back to the way I was doing things. But hopefully you found it a little bit more knowledgeable. I'm hoping. All right. No, it doesn't look like I missed any questions. All right. So if this is something you want to take advantage of, if you could answer those 3 questions, right? Because some of the stuff I went over, not exactly the teachings today, because we went over that, but if some of the other stuff I mentioned that's in the playbook, if it's going to solve a problem or help improve something in your agency, if that's a yes, are you willing to try something new? That you could have answered at the beginning. And do you like the way I do it? Let's face it. If you don't like the way I deliver content and train, well, then I'm probably not for you, right? And do you trust me? One way I wanted to build your trust today, if you've never met me before, is I was trying to be honest with you, how people do sales webinars, right? All right. So anyway, if you need to do, or I'm sorry, yeah, if you need to contact me, it's joe@imwithdavis.com. Mark, I saw your email. Don't email me. I'll email you in a minute. Shoot me an email if you have questions on anything. Other than that, guys, thanks for joining me. Let me know if you liked it this way. If you didn't like it this way, just say, no, Joe, go back to your usual webinars where you hook us for 30 minutes and then try to close us on a sale for 40. All right, guys, thank you so much. I always appreciate it. I'll leave this page up for just a little bit longer. Let's see, it's 3:13 or 3:15. Sorry. I'll leave it up for 10 minutes. All right, 10 minutes. If you have questions, email me. Other than that, guys, hope you have a great, amazing rest of your day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.